Hey guys, and welcome back. The last time we got together, we talked about, we started our series on some of the lies that we have bought into as a culture. And we talked about the lie that came about really over the last 50 to 60 years in America. We talked about the Time magazine article that was entitled, "Is God Dead?" And today I want to kind of follow that up with a second lie that I think Satan has really used to get our culture to buy into, and it's kind of based off of that same lie, and that's that Satan is not real and hell is not real. You see, when Satan got this movement going in our culture that God was dead, it really worked to his advantage. He got people to believe that they could just live however they wanted, there be no consequences. But then he took it even a step further and got this lie to go around that he wasn't real. But in fact, the truth is he is very much still around and is very much still the enemy of Christians. And I want to look at three specific examples out of the Bible where we see interaction with Satan and what he's doing and how that correlates to how he's still using the same tricks today. And the first one is when we first meet him in Genesis 3 in the garden. Many of you grew up in church, know the story, but in case you don't. We got Adam, we got Eve. They're living in the Garden of Eden, they're living in paradise. And the only rule is they can't eat from the one tree. Well, Satan shows up as a serpent to Eve, and Satan is smart enough to know that if he walks up to Eve and just says, "Hey, look, you can eat this fruit and you're going to be kicked out of the garden. You're going to lose paradise. You're no longer be able to walk with God. You're going to now suffer death and hardship." Eve probably would not have fallen for it. And so he uses this mentality that, did God really say that? And he got Eve to doubt what God had told them enough to where she partook in the fruit. And in turn, Adam partook of the fruit, and we have the original sin, and we have the fall of man. And even today, we're still seeing that same technique or tactic, Satan using it. Did God really say that? And one example I like to look to on that is, if I told you right now that in ancient Sparta, they had a practice of when the babies were born, if the baby wasn't deemed worthy enough to be a soldier or a warrior, or a female baby was not deemed to be worthy to be a mother of a Spartan, one day they would actually cast the baby off the side of a cliff. I think if you polled 100 people, 99 of them would tell you that's horrible, we can't do that, that's just, and you're appalled by that idea. But then you turn around and look in America today, and we're aborting babies every single day and all across our country. And we say it's different, it's not the same thing, it's different. Because we've bought into, did God really say that he knows us in our mother's womb? We've decided that's not a person. So we've bought into Satan's idea and this tactic he uses that this is not really what God said. So how do we fight that? Well, the only way to fight that is we've got to be in the Word, we've got to be studying, we've got to know what God said. The second tactic I think Satan likes to use, we find it in the whole book of Job. For those of you that are familiar with it, you know the story. Again, we'll briefly go through it. Satan approaches God and says that the only reason Job is faithful to him and loves him is because of all the great possessions and all the blessings that God has given to him. And so God, being all-knowing and all-powerful, knows that Job really loves him because it's in his heart. Allows Satan to take the possessions away from him and to take everything that Job loves on earth away from him. And so Satan, he uses this idea, this tactic that we only love God when we have our possessions, when we're getting our blessings. And he's kind of twisted it up a little bit today in America, because he's got us to believe that our possessions are more important than who we get our blessings from. If you don't believe me, just sometime get on the internet, on your phone, computer, tablet, whatever you want to use, and look up what we pay our professional athletes. Look up what we as Americans almost idolize. Look at what we pay a LeBron James, and then look at what we pay a school teacher or a construction worker or a fireman, police officer, minister, something. And you start to see where we have bought into this idea, and we've shifted in this possession idea, in this culture where what's on the outside matters more. So again, I'm not saying that if you've been blessed with either money or good looks, or whatever you've been blessed with, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we can't lose sight of where those blessings come from, A, and B, we can't put those blessings on a higher pedestal than we put God, who gives us these blessings, because then we fall into that trap that Satan tried to set for Job. And the third and final tactic we find in the New Testament is when Satan comes to tempt Jesus. Satan knew that Jesus was out in the desert and that he was tired and hungry. And so Satan tries to tempt Christ during this time frame. And I think if you look around our culture today, he's going after that same philosophy. With the coronavirus going on, all the racial tension, all the different things that are going on in our culture, Satan knows it's a very easy time to get us to maybe stop focusing on God, maybe to walk away from it. Maybe we're getting tired, and that's when we as a church, we've got to be on our guard. Satan is looking to destroy us through the media, social media, whatever source that you want to, that's filling us with this fear and this hate. So how do we combat it? Again, it goes back to being in the Word. It goes back to taking the time to attend church virtually or physically. It goes back to these things. And it goes back to, in my opinion, today we're celebrating Father's Day. By the way, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Especially happy Father's Day to my dad, my uncle, and my grandpas, the men that kind of helped shape who I am. And the father of lies is very active right now. He's after us. But if we can keep our focus on our Heavenly Father, who without Him there is no point in Father's Day, then I think we can resist the devil here. But first off, we've got to know that this idea floating around, this lie that Satan's not real, you got to see it. And you got to be aware that God is in control. But Satan's out here to try to devour us. So again, I hope that as you go through this week, you know that we love you here at First Christian. And we're here for you if you need us. If you're starting to grow tired and weary from being separated from everybody, give us a call, or Instagram, Facebook, whatever however the social media thing works. That's not me. But just reach out to us. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.